Okay.
You're live.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Monday morning coffee chat. This week, our Where in the World programming is going to keep us in North Africa. We did Egypt last week. This week, we are going to focus on, I think, everybody's favorite destination in North Africa, which is Morocco. And Reed Cohen is joining me this morning live from Chefchaouen, it looks like, right?
Yep, Chefchaouen.
Chefchaouen. I'm in Ouarzazate, which is also in Morocco. And we actually have a guest who is actually in Morocco, not fake Morocco. We are being joined this morning by Ayoub, who is joining us from Marrakech. Good morning. Oh, wait. Ramadan Kalim.
Thank you.
Impressive.
That's a good one. Yeah, impressive. Yeah,
you can thank Hoda for that one.
Yeah, that's good.
So welcome. And so I guess the first thing that we should just talk about, because we were talking a little before we started the broadcast, how are things going in Morocco? What is your feeling about tourism? And the one thing before we started this chat, I looked up to just see how things were in Morocco. Americans are technically even allowed in right now. So that's an interesting thing to sort of start with. So tell me, what's the situation there right now?
Yeah, like you said, Americans are allowed. We didn't close borders with Americans, so travelers from the US can visit if you have a PCR test within 72 hours, and if you have a vaccination card that you've been vaccinated. The situation in Morocco at the moment is stable. We don't have a lot of cases. When I say we don't have a lot, it's not like in thousands, but it's way below. And also the vaccination is going really well. So we're at 11% at the moment of the populations of Morocco is vaccinated. And they're actually going below the ages that they defined in the beginning. So now even people that are not within the fragile ages are getting vaccinated as well. So it's going really well. And we hope to get everyone vaccinated. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's the goal, and also the goal to build like a global immunity in Morocco. So yeah, we're working toward that.
That's great. So what is your feeling about when tourism will just kind of start up again?
There are a lot of speculations, to be honest, but there are some people that say that June might be the golden month if everything works out properly. So I would say June, maybe a little bit further, but definitely something at the end of the year, people will start traveling again to Morocco, to be specific, with the current vaccination rolling out properly, with the measurements that are happening and all that. I think maximum end of the year, people will start traveling to Morocco again.
It's exciting.
We prefer September and October, please.
Yeah.
That's when Sarah and I are scheduled to have some groups coming over there. So fingers crossed on that. If I can just keep the screen for a second, I think this is a perfect example. We're always talking about, or I'm at least always talking about, how Morocco is this great example of a progressive, moderate Muslim country. It's a great place for Americans to visit, to have a good experience of Islam. And here's another example of that here's a country that's getting the vaccine rollout right, that's controlled this epidemic, that has kept the infection rate down. So more evidence to me that, boy, there's a lot of things going well in Morocco, and it's one of the many reasons we love bringing groups there. So
yeah, most of the time when you look at Morocco from the outside, you think, yeah, this is probably a lazy country and all that. But once you're you have a problem and you have to work around for a solution to that problem, people actually do find solutions to problems. So that's one thing that Moroccans have. So they might sound like they're just gonna have fun. They sound like lazy people, but most of the time, if you find yourself in a difficult situation, definitely will work your butt off to find the solution for that problem. Yeah.
Well, I would say my impression in Morocco from having been there is that, I guess a lot of people talk about Turkey as being the right place to go and experience a moderate Muslim nation. I actually think Morocco is better. Although, especially with all the political turmoil with Turkey, I think Morocco is such a welcoming and easygoing place to learn about Islam. And I also think that it's so, I mean, for me, it's so exotic. It's so like Aladdin kind of, what you dream about, an exotic country looking like. So when you are guiding with people, how do you help them to learn about Islam?
Well, actually, Islam is something that you live throughout your day, to be honest. For example, now we're in Ramadan. Ramadan is the holy month in Islam, and everyone is fasting, all that. Also, it's a month where you're more giving, you're more generous. You kind of feel like how poor people feel that they don't have food. So it will make you feel like you want to give more to them, to the people. Also, you'll talk about most of the time you'll be walking around and you'll hear the call for the prayer. So it's kind of disciplinary kind of thing. So we have to pray 5 times a day, and you'll hear the call for the prayer 5 times a day. People will stop whatever they're doing and they'll go pray. And also it's very relaxed. You can hear the call for the prayer, and if you have something that you can't really stop at that time, you can do it and pray later. But some other countries that are very strict, you'll have to stop what you're doing and you have to go pray at that exact moment. Also, in Morocco, you don't really, people will not say like you have to be a Muslim, this is the religion of the country, and so on and so on. It's totally up to you. If you want to be a Muslim, that's up to you. If you don't want to practice, that's up to you, but you just have to respect the religion itself. You don't really want to go and create problems. That's why we have still have Jewish people around. We have some Christians as well, and also there are some people that are not religious, even some Moroccans as well. But that's the thing. It's also, if you walk around, most females sometimes not wear the headscarf, and I get a lot of questions about that. People say like, yeah, this is a Muslim country, and we see girls wearing shorts. How is that possible? I say like, yeah, it's just like anywhere else. People, if it's hot, they will wear shorts. There's nothing that will stop you. It's just totally how you feel about it. It's not something that it's not an obligation that you'll have to cover your head or act a certain way. If you're a Muslim, you do your prayers, you do your fasting, you do your giving. You can go to Mecca if you want, but that's a big one. And you're totally free. There is no obligation that you have to do this or do that or act this way or so on. You're free in your religion choices, and it's totally up to you.
Yeah, I had that very strong feeling when I was in, I think I was in Rabat, and I saw like a work crew smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. And then there was the call to prayer, and they all put that down and they went and they prayed, and then they went back to drinking their beers, which I was a little shocked by, because I've traveled in some very conservative parts of the Islamic world, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
But I thought that was actually a nice hybrid between Western and Eastern cultures in a sense.
Exactly. It's a really nice hybrid. You can get the feel of both things. Especially in the big cities, Marrakech counted. You can get, like I said, to read last times. A lot of people would come and they're scared and they go like, yeah, I'm gonna get robbed. People will say something about how I'm dressing. I need to dress conservatively. Well, you have to dress smart, but when you say to people that, oh, there's a dance club if you want to go, there's a bar if you want to have some beers or some wine, they'll be like, what? And they just get more confused if you tell them that Morocco actually produces wine and beers, and it will be a little bit more even confusing.
Yeah, I was in Napa Valley this past week. I was at a winery, and the wine steward at this winery in the Napa Valley, I recognized his accent, and I said, are you from Morocco? And he said, yeah. And he started off working in Marjuga, which I was like, wow, that's crazy. So yeah, so it's a surprising place. Reed, what do you find most surprising about Morocco?
Most surprising, I think the ease with which travel happens there. We've got these ideas, these preconceptions that you mentioned, Sarah, about it. It's an exotic place, and it certainly is. And I know that for a lot of our travelers, they do have some trepidation about how things are going to go. I don't have those same perceptions myself of it being a place where people are lazy or that it might be dangerous or something like that. My experiences are all contrary to that. But then to just arrive and have everything go so smoothly on a tour with 20 plus people, which that says a lot for any country. And then when you have a country that might be perceived as still a developing culture, and have the infrastructure be so good, and then everything come off so smoothly, you know, obviously the organization is solid, that doesn't fit with even my perception of some developing world countries, not necessarily Muslim countries. So I guess I would say that's the biggest surprise for me is just how fluid and smooth and well run everything seemed to be when we were there.
Yeah. I think most of the work that Moroccan people do somehow is connected to tourism. Yeah. So with time, that like organization and transport and all that, when it comes to tourism, is like you said, solid and developed properly. And most packs that are visiting Morocco, the first contact is what's going to make it or break it. So that connection with the guide or the leader in the airport or the driver is the start of a good or a bad trip. So if you get out of the airport, meet with your transport, everything is the driver or the leader is welcoming. They tell you something funny in Arabic. They might offer you a tea or something. It just starts off as a really good experience. But if you come and the driver is late or the leader is late or grumpy and all that, even if you go to nice places, you visit good places, it feels a little bit like, yeah, that first contact was not great. Yeah.
I have a funny story about that, actually. I flew into Casablanca going to Rabat, and I went to get a taxi, and I did the thing you're not supposed to do, which is a guy approached me in the baggage hall, and he's like, hey, you want to ride? And of course, my tour guide senses no to say no to that, but I was so tired. I'm like, sure, that's fine. Yeah. I don't even care. I walk out and get into this guy's private unmarked car. Again, I'm like, this is so stupid. What the heck am I doing? And I shouldn't have done that. I would not suggest this. But what was hilarious is the guy driving me to Rabat, he's like, you want a hamburger? I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go to McDonald's. So this guy who picked me up, random person picked me up from the airport, took me out to McDonald's for a hamburger before dropping me off in Rabat. But what was funny about it was he was just genuinely friendly. Like he just genuinely wanted to buy me a hamburger.
Exactly. Yeah. Most Moroccan people are friendly. Sometimes if people are visiting, it might sound strange to them that somebody's invited them to their house or invited them for the tea and they don't even know them. They go like, why is this guy talking to me in the first place? So that's kind of a Moroccan thing. But again, always trust your gut feeling, to be honest. Sometimes it actually turns out to be something that you were not really planning for. It might end up bad. So always trust your gut. Most Moroccans, I'm saying, are genuine, are nice, are generous, but there are exceptions as well. So if it's your first time to the country, you don't know anything, you don't know the language, you don't know what you're doing, try to be street smart, as I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a very good. I'm not saying that what I did is something that other people should do. Can one of my many catalog of random stories. What?
Can I tell an embarrassing airport story?
Please do. Yes. This isn't actually copycat. It's tour guide confessional, is what it is.
Yeah. I don't want to derail this great discussion of the friendly, welcoming culture of Morocco, and my story doesn't dilute that, but I did make one of those bonehead mistakes myself my first time in Morocco. I arrived with our colleague Pat O'Connor, and we ended up flying in together, and we went to the little underground train station, and oh no, sorry, let me back up. He had made arrangements for the hotel to pick us up with a car, unbeknownst to me. So we arrived, and there was nobody there. There was nobody with a little sign like we expected. And we thought, okay, well, that must have fallen through. So we went to the train station, got our tickets. And then I left all my bags and everything with Pat, and I needed to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and on my way back, I look out the doors of the airport, and then I understand what's happening, that none of those people who have come to pick people up are allowed into the airport. I see them all outside behind a barrier with their signs. And I'm like, oh, so I just walk out the door and I go out there and I find our guy. I say, okay, let me go back and get my colleague. I'll be back in 5 minutes and we'll go. I couldn't get back into the airport. I didn't have my passport. I had nothing. I guess I look like a terrorist trying to get into the airport. I had to beg and cajole and talk my way into getting back in. I think I ended up flagging some stranger down who I could tell. I heard him speaking English well, and I begged him to go. I described Pat. I described where he was sitting. Can you please go find my friend and bring him here? And that didn't work. And finally, one of the guards took pity on me and sort of, I think, used his common sense and said, I can see how this stupid American tourist walked outside without his passport, and he let me back in. And, this is like half an hour has gone by. Pat is like, Pat's not panicked. He says, I figured something happened, Anyway, it all turned out okay, but totally bonehead move. I just walked right out of the door. And that's, I should know better, but why I wouldn't realize at that moment that the security of the airport was the reason all those people were outside and not waiting for us in the arrivals hall. So that was my first moment in Morocco, and I benefited from the kindness of a man who actually bent the rules to let me back in. So there you go.
Yeah. It's just so you don't feel bad, Reed. We have an emergency phone, and I would say loads of calls would come just for this, because people would call and be like, especially at night, people like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I was like, I just landed in Casablanca and there is no driver. And our question, we just memorized this: are you inside or outside the terminal? And they go like, inside the terminal. It's just like, please go outside, you'll find the driver. It's just, with how many times we did this. Well, I can do it while I'm asleep now. So you get a call, somebody missed the transport because the driver couldn't get inside. You just say like, you have to go outside and meet your driver. So it's all over the airport in Morocco. So people have to go outside to meet your designated driver to take you to your accommodation.
Well, all right, Ayoub. Thank you for trying to make me feel better, Ayoub. But those people didn't go outside without their passports, nor are they probably travel professionals. So I don't really feel any better.
Reed, we just have to have one day when you and I just tell war stories, because you got a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, that's one of many bonehead moves.
So Ayoub, we've started the tour guide confessional here, so I'm sure you've got to have a story you can share. Do you have a story you can share?
A story I can share. To be honest, nothing comes to mind. You just have to direct me toward the story, because nothing comes to my mind at the moment.
Have you ever like lost your tour members in a souk or something like that? I know that I've gotten on the
not lost, but you've been to the square before, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so the square in the evening is quite packed, and you have some ladies around that would do the henna tattoos, and a lot of people would think that they do it for free, or they would do it for a symbolic amount of money. Most people, they don't want to do that, but one of those ladies will just, once she gets a hold of your hand, she will do something on your hand and she'll tell you, look, I have to finish it, you have to pay me. So it's kind of a scam. Yeah. I had a group of 12, or if I remember, 14 people, and we were going for dinner to a place for roast lamb. That's a guy that used to cook for the king. Really recommend, if you come to Marrakech, you have to visit. And I noticed that 2 ladies are not with the group, and I was like, what's happening? Probably they took a wrong turn or something. And I can hear an argument going in the back of the group. and people are screaming and all that. And I turned to see that my ladies are fighting with this lady. And I'm like, guys, this is not what you should do. Just walk off. You don't have to start any argument. Most people that in Morocco, most people when they come to Morocco, they hear us talking Arabic and they think that we're fighting or we're trying to fight. It sounds like a harsh language, but most of the time it's not really that. So the ladies were scared and they started screaming and all that. Kind of caused a little bit of a scene, but just sorted itself out. Square can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes you'll get people as well getting scammed by the stalls, the food stalls. It's a great thing to do if you're there, if you have a really good stomach and you're good with foreign foods and all that. You can try to eat there, but always pay attention to the prices because it can really add up to a hefty amount of money. Yeah. Well, besides that, nothing comes to my mind as a story. Probably.
I'm sure you've got a million of them, but you're just
yeah.
Maybe you don't want to share them
Nothing
all.
specific.
That's the other part. So
maybe I don't want to embarrass myself like Reed.
Yeah, I know. Reed and I are just like, yeah, we've been around a long time. We're happy to embarrass ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
So for people who are watching that maybe have never been to Morocco, could you just kind of tell us a little bit about what your highlights for showing people around are? What are your favorite places to take people?
Marrakech would be the best place because I'm a native guy from Marrakech. Essaouira as well. Definitely a favorite place. It's a quiet coastal town. If you want to go there, have some fish from the fish market, take it to the locals for a local grill. Chef Shawan as well is good. Taghazout is good as well. And also I said to Reed last time, Dakhla is really picking up and it's a really good place to visit as well, south of Morocco. It's a little bit further down south. Yeah,
I don't think I know that area. What is down there?
It's kind of how would I say this? If you go there, it might sound like kind of deserted. There's nothing happening, but if you want to go to places, you have to have transport for sure, a 4x4, and it has like amazing beaches, amazing fish markets and all that. You can also do a lot of sailing and sea activities if you like that as well. It's just beautiful. It's still untouched now with the lockdown happening. Outside of people can't travel outside of Morocco. Most of Moroccan travelers will go to Dakhla. It's quite booming.
Cool. So Reed, what are the places you would like to go to that we haven't seen? Because we do Rabat, Chefchaouen, Marrakech, where's Zet, and the Sahara. Oh, and Fez. Those are our main stops. Any places that are not on the tour that you'd like to have on the tour?
Well, I love quirky things, and Ayoub's going to have to tell me the name of the town or the area where you can go and see the goats that climb the olive trees. Where's
the
that?
olive trees or argan trees?
Sorry?
Argan
Is
trees.
it the olive?
Oh, actually, I shouldn't have said that. I don't know what kind of trees they are, but there's a place where the goats climb in the trees.
It's actually on the road from Marrakech to Essaouira. That's where most of the argan plantation is. Yeah. And you'll get a lot of goats climbing on those trees. Just it's something of an ethic that you should pay attention while doing this. This goat on trees started attracting a lot of visitors, and people saw an opportunity for money there. And some people, not everyone, they started tying the goats to the trees. So it might look natural to you, but the goat is actually tied to the tree. So you have to pay attention that you're not supporting something that is not really ethical when it comes to that.
Good advice. That's a place I've not been, just always been fascinated. I mean,
but it's fun.
I always admire local entrepreneurship. But that, and then there's a place that I've just seen pictures of. I don't think it's far from the same area there with the climbing goats. A town that has a great underground cistern system that just looked fascinating in the pictures. It reminds me of the same that you can see in Istanbul. Do you know where I'm talking about on that one, Ayoub?
Underground system. I know a place in Meknes like that, but I'm not sure if we're talking about the same place.
It's a cistern,
City.
right? An underground water storage system.
Underground storage system.
Nothing
comes to mind, to be honest.
Okay, no worries. Again, it's just something I've seen pictures of,
it's actually it's an old system that was in Morocco for aeration. You know, you get water under the ground so it doesn't evaporate and all that. It's something called khtarat. It's all over next to the desert, but a city itself, not sure.
Okay.
By like around next to the Ouarzazate, next to Merzouga, you'll get places like this, and you can actually see still these kind of holes in the ground where the water used to go. But a city, not sure.
Okay.
Well, so when we go there, I think that probably the place that impressed me the most, I can't explain why, because I think that everybody kind of feels places in a different way. I was really taken by Fez. I don't know why, but Fez just really, I found enchanting. I knew I would like Marrakech. Marrakech is so fun. But I don't know why Fez really enchanted me, and that's sort of in the middle. But the thing I was surprised about with that and with Chefchaouen is that how green they are. I sort of imagine Marrakech to be, or not Marrakech, but Morocco to be all deserty the whole way. But isn't it the greenest country in Africa?
Not sure, to be honest, but like you said, it's quite green. That's a perception that a lot of people would have about Morocco. They think like, yeah, probably it's in Africa, it's going to be all deserted. But when you come to this, to Morocco, you find a lot of olive trees, a lot of pomegranate apples and all that, especially in the mountainous regions. Also, there are a lot of agriculture, especially in the region of Agadir. Most of that, like oranges and similar things, would be exported to Europe. So if you go, for example, to France, I've been a few times, and most of the products that you'll get in the organic stores are coming from Morocco. So it's just a small thing. Like you said, Fez might be a little bit enchanting because it's not as noisy as Marrakech. You know, if you go inside the Medina of Fez, there are no motorbikes, nothing like that. But Marrakech still has that kind of vibe to it. You'll get a lot of motorbikes around. So that could be why you like this. Tranquil, it's small alleyways and all that.
Yeah, it felt like being transported back in time or into an Indiana Jones movie or something. I'm not sure maybe like that. So
I think I've described Fez as an out-of-body experience. That you talk about Morocco being an exotic destination. I think Fez is the exotic of the country, right? Just for that non-Western vibe that you guys are both doing a good job describing. It's wonderful. Just to wander, get lost, and then find some little kid and give him some money to have you guide you back to your hotel. So
yeah, that's actually something again that you have to pay attention to, you know.
It's my goal to get lost. That was not me being bonehead again. That was, I like the wandering and getting lost.
No. Just
hey,
sometimes
falling into all the traps, right?
Sometimes it's actually not all the time, but sometimes if you might get lost, and some people might try to show you the way, like, oh, I'm gonna show you the way, this place, that place, and blah blah blah. Again, use your common sense. You know, if you feel like you're lost, try as much as you can to ask like a shop owner or somebody that is established, not anyone on the street. Sometimes they will take you to the place, and sometimes you might find some guy or something that might give you a little bit of problems. You know, they might ask you, if you tip them, they're like, no, this is not enough, I want more money, and they start screaming and all that. So this is something that people should pay attention to as well. But most of the time, if you ask shop owners, old people on the street, they will help out.
Well, so good.
I have a great story of someone getting lost that not only is it a fun story, but I think it really reveals something important about Morocco that we've been talking about, the kindness, the helpfulness. So I had a group. I want to say we were in Fez. I'm almost certain it was Fez. It was certainly one of those towns where, you know, there was a labyrinth of alleyways and stuff, and very easy to get lost and disoriented. And sure enough, we had a woman, a lovely woman, but who sometimes can, you know, wasn't quite tuned in as much as she should have been. I don't know what she did, but she got separated from the group. I don't know if she stopped at a shop or something and turned around and we were gone, but we completely lost her. And when we discovered, you know, the next time we did a buddy check, we found out she was missing. We had a local guide there in addition to our peak tour manager, and the local guide got on the phone, and I guess there must be some sort of network. He got on his cell phone, and in this place where you feel like you could be lost for days, within about 10 minutes, they had located her, and it was the friend of somebody's cousin of the local guide, and they had returned her to us within about 10 minutes. It was one of those remarkable travel experiences that I think, I don't know that that happens anywhere else in the world, the way that it unfolded, right? And
yeah, exactly.
And perhaps the most telling was, I wasn't showing my panic, but inside I'm like, OMG, how are we going to get her back in this place? And the local guide was so calm. I mean, he knew what was going to happen. He knew it was going to work. So that's what suggests to me that this is not an uncommon occurrence. We got her back and all was well. Great experience for everybody.
Yeah, in Morocco, most people are like everyone else's cousin. So you'll always have somebody on the phone to help you with something if something like this happen. And also try as much as you can to, you know, connect with the locals. If you get a connection with the locals, they will help you around or with whatever you need.
Yeah, but how they identified our one woman that we were missing in a when there's hundreds and hundreds of Western people wandering around, they could figure out the one that looked lost, I guess.
That could be the thing. Yeah, or the shop or the local guide might know the area or the shops where she was, and they might ask if there was somebody missing there, probably leave her there and somebody will come for her. So that could be the thing as well.
So Ayoub, I'm just curious, how did you get into being a tour guide? You speak fantastic English, by the way, so I'm just curious about what your origins are.
Well, yeah, like I said to Reed last time, actually I'm coming from an IT background, so I have a master's in IT. Then I started working in IT for about a year or so. Then, you know, I just caught the bug of traveling, you know, and I was like, this is something I love doing. Probably would be great as well to work in. Yeah, that I started working with Peak, the company that operates for you guys here in Morocco. And in 2018, I applied to be a national guide, which is a license that you have to apply for in the Ministry of Tourism. You have to speak at least a language that you want to guide in. You have to do a written test, and you also have to do a speaking test in front of the jury. So that was that, and here we are.
So how do you feel about tour guiding? We're kind of old salts over here. We're both on our like second or third decades.
Yeah. A lot of stuff to learn from you guys. For me, it's always about connecting visitors to locals, you know, immersing the visitors in the local culture is either by food or either by doing activities that will make them feel connected to the culture of Morocco, either by teaching them how to cook something, teaching them the language, tasting some Moroccan foods that they will not be able to taste by themselves, living experiences like having a meal in somebody's house, which is just one of the things that you have to do in Morocco. You can eat outside whatever you want, but if my mom or my grandma cooks it for you, it's just totally different. So those are most of the things that I would focus on, those interactions between visitors and locals that makes a lot of impact on visitors, and it just stays with them. the
Well,
most.
I would say that's the remarkable thing about the experience that I have
Yeah.
had, which is that as the tour manager working with my peak guide, it's like, oh, I would really love to do something local. What can we do? And it's like, let me call my cousin. And I just love that it's like, oh, let's do this spontaneous, cool thing. I'd love to have tea with the family. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And that I think was just, I thought that was really magical because it was so kind of off the grid kind of, you can't even call it tourism. It's like cultural interactions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad you feel
Cultural
the same way
immersion.
about that. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you say, Sarah? Did you ask me something? I didn't hear.
Oh, no, I was just saying that I think that's really neat that you do that because I thought
Yeah.
for me, of course, seeing the sites is great, but the most memorable
Yep.
experiences that I had were those things that were not actually even on the itinerary that we're like,
Exactly.
hey,
Yes.
let's go eat camel burgers, okay.
Exactly. Yes.
So doing new
Yeah.
things.
I think those people stay with those things stay more with the people. They kind of like feel like, oh, we're part of Morocco even for just 1 second,
Yeah.
It's just those tea moments, camel burgers, couscous, tangia, tagines, cooking class. It just stays with you. It's something new that you learn. It's a taste that you acquire. So it's just more nice.
So mentioning the food, that's a great question. That's a great segue into what I wanted to talk to you about next, which is the food. So Moroccan cuisine is sort of a particular thing. Most people know a little bit about a tagine, but can you tell us a little bit about what your favorite things are to serve to visitors?
Yeah. So just there's a confusion between a tagine and tangia most of the time. So just give me a second. I'll be back. I'll show you a tagine.
Oh, well, there we go. Hey, Reed, how's it going?
Great.
So this is a tagine. See, usually looks like this. It has a lid. Yeah, and depends. What do you want to cook? You can pretty much do anything here. You can have vegetables. You can have meat. You can even have shakshuka. I don't know if you know what that is. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's one of the things that you should have in a tagine as well. And there is a tangia. I don't have one, but it's more of a big clay pot. That is only Marrakech signature dish, which is meat with, when I say meat, I mean like beef, lamb, chicken. Most of the time it's just beef and lamb. And you'll have saffron, olive oil, garlic, and a little bit of water and preserved butter and salt, preserved lemon. And you mix everything and it goes to the communal oven for about like 5 hours of slow cooking. So once you get it, the meat just falls off the bone. It's one of the best things that you can try while in Marrakech. For example, in Fas, pastilla is something that you should try if you're there. It's Fas signature dish. It's just chicken inside a filo pastry with almond. It's kind of savory sweet. Some people might not really feel the vibe, but it's just something that you should definitely try, no matter how your mind is telling you this is not going to be good, but I guarantee it's very good. If you're in the desert, definitely you'll have to try the medfuna, which is the Berber pizza. Mountains, most of the time it's tagines. And most of the time, try as much as you can, even if it's just one time, try to have a meal at somebody's house. You can eat a tagine on a store, but it will not taste the same if you eat it at somebody's place. It just will not taste the same. It's just totally different. But tangia is one of the best things that people have that wow moment when they try it, even with not much ingredients, but just the time that goes into cooking the meat and all that just gives it this beautiful taste. Tagine with chicken and olives and preserved lemon is the best as well to try while in Morocco. You can also try shakshuka that I told Reed about, which is bell peppers, tomatoes, eggs. It's just beautiful as well. You can have it as breakfast. You can also try msaman, which is Moroccan pancakes. Bagrir as well is the same thing. Definitely you'll have to have with that some tea in a teapot like this. Yeah. Yeah, so those things are must. Couscous for sure. Yeah, that's something that you'll find all over Morocco. But the Moroccan couscous, it takes a little bit of time again. So most people will do it on Fridays. So if you're on Friday somewhere, try to have it at somebody's house, because most people will start it at like 10 a.m. and they will have it by 2 or 2:30 after everyone is coming from the Friday prayer. So it's a meal that everyone will have as a group. Takes a little bit of time to make the broth with all the vegetables, the meat, time to steam the couscous. It's just a whole process to do so. So that's a must as well while in Morocco.
Oh, fantastic. Well, tomorrow, just for those who are watching, I actually finally broke down and bought myself a proper tagine. So we're going to do some tagine cooking tomorrow evening here. So if you guys want to watch me burn a beautiful stew, you're welcome to. It'll be an experiment. I think my favorite tagine that I had was, it was like they always do the sweet and savory thing. So it was like
the one with prunes, yeah?
Yes, the beef with prunes. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was so good.
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be what I'm going to try tomorrow. But that is, I think, for me, when I think about the taste of Moroccan food, I think about that combination of the sweetness and the savory together.
So you know what my takeaway was there, Sarah?
Huh?
I think Ayoub was inviting our groups to come and have dinner at his house in Marrakech. Didn't you hear?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, we can definitely arrange that. As soon as you get here, you can come and have dinner. That's definitely for sure. And I can actually
and we've got it recorded. This invitation.
Yeah, for sure. And I can actually take you to the countryside where you can have that, because I live in the city, but my family is in the countryside, so it'll add even more to the experience.
Awesome.
Wow. That's cool. So Marrakech is a little bit different than other Moroccan cities, I think. It's a lot more international. And that, I get the impression, is from the French influence, because there's a lot of French travelers that go there. So could you just tell us a little bit about Marrakech and how that's a very different place?
I think most of the big cities are more international nowadays, like Marrakech, Casablanca, Fes, and all that. Most cities with the big airports are the same. French actually left a huge mark on Marrakech. There are a lot of restaurants, a lot of French food places, bars, and all that. But that kind of French is not there anymore. It's starting to pick up this American English spoken vibe to it. Yeah. We only used to have like a lot of French people visiting, but with more access to the internet and all that, people knew about Morocco and what it could offer. And now we have a lot of visitors from different destinations. I think US is the biggest destination so far for Morocco. We have a lot of people visiting from the US.
Oh, I got the impression it was very French, and that was another surprising.
It used to be. It used to be. Yeah, it used to be, but not anymore. Most guides now, if you go to the guiding world, like the guides that were older than me, their first language was French, and because they only guided French tourists, people from Switzerland, Belgium, and all that, but they started to lack some skills, so they started learning English as well, because there is no market for the French, and most French now, they know Morocco a lot. When they come first time, probably they'll need a guide, but the second time they'll just say, like, let's just whiz around and do it by ourselves. But newer guides, most of them will speak English. It's the go-to language that people use now.
Huh. That answers a question that I had in my mind the whole time I was in Morocco, which was that I was there prepared to speak French. I speak terrible French, but I was like, ready, I'm ready. And it didn't actually come in that useful.
Yeah, but most younger generation will speak English, also French and Arabic and Berber as well. It's just, but Arabic and Berber and French are the official language of the country. English, not yet. I'm not sure if it will be there, but most people, like young generation, would speak it.
Wow, that's great. So Reed, did you have any trouble communicating when you were in Morocco?
Gosh, I don't recall, but I think there were times that I had to find somebody who spoke English if I was on my own. Of course, on the tour, everything is, all of our tour activities are organized, and we had Tariq, our tour manager, that was always available. If I had been there all on my own, I might have bumped into a few situations where English wasn't sufficient, but
Yep.
for the most part, that you can always find a shopkeeper or a restaurant or somebody. People in hospitality spoke English.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, one of the things that sort of is remarkable to me about Morocco is the diversity, because so many countries kind of have a vibe, they have a thing that they are, you kind of can imagine what that whole country is based on one kind of landscape, for example. But Morocco is really, I found, very surprising with the diversity, because you can go from beaches, and I thought Rabat was a shockingly modern city, actually, with their beautiful theater they're building. And Casablanca kind of looks like Los Angeles. And then you go to Fez, which looks like you're in 1001 Arabian Nights, and then you can go down towards the Sahara, and you have to go over that pass in the Atlas Mountains that looks like Switzerland. It's kind of just a fascinating country because of its diversity. What is your take on that?
It's just something that is surprisingly beautiful for most of the visitors. I was telling Reed last time, most people that come to Marrakech, you can do pretty much all these landscapes in one day. You can do the Agafay Desert if you don't really want to go to the desert that is far. You can do the coast by going to Essaouira, and you actually can go to the mountains for, like, if you're into the mountains and nature, you can climb Toubkal, which is the highest peak in North Africa. Also, you can go to Okayem for skiing, which might be a little bit surprising for a lot of people. So it's just a wonderful mixture that you can have in one country. Let's just even say in Marrakech. It's just something that is totally beautiful, and it's just worth exploring.
Wow. Yeah, I was very surprised by that. The one thing that might be on people's minds who are watching this, especially women who are traveling by themselves, is safety. I know right before I left, there was that big news story about the two girls who were hiking in the mountains that were killed. And my dad called me and he's like, "You need to cancel your tour. You can't go to Morocco." And I went, "It'll be okay. I'll be fine." And I felt 100% safe everywhere I was. But what are your thoughts about safety, especially for single female travelers?
I think Morocco is pretty safe. Yeah. Like I was saying since the beginning of the chat, always be street smart. Don't go to dark places at 1 a.m. in the morning. I think if something's going to happen, bad's going to happen to you, it's going to happen to you anywhere in the world, not just in Morocco. But, if you're street smart about it, if you're respectful to the people, if you have a problems, you can always ask the riads or the places that you're staying at. Don't go to places with people that you don't know unless you're like really comfortable and you think that, trust your gut feeling to be. That's all I have to say. But we don't have any guns, we don't have any violence and things like that. There are the usual stuff like pickpocketing. People might scam you on something like the hefty bills or sell you something that is fake, but nothing like aggravated assault or murder or anything like that. That's quite safe.
Yeah, I had that question once from somebody who was thinking about signing up for the tour, and I actually just looked at the crime statistics, and oh boy, is Morocco a whole lot safer than the US.
Well,
from the numbers point of view.
Virtually every time I have somebody on a tour who expresses their anxiety, I always say, you have left the dangerous country behind. you can relax, and that's particularly true of Morocco, I would say.
Oh, yeah. So far, besides that incident, I haven't heard of anything that was like as serious as that. But pickpocketing, definitely, you have to be smart about it. Put your stuff in front of you. Pay attention to your pockets, especially in crowded places like the square or the Medinas. Buying stuff, always check if you're buying good quality stuff. If you have a local with you, that always be great to bargain, because in Morocco we do bargain a lot. It's one of our favorite sports to do. If you're if you're eating food somewhere that like in a store or something, they always try to make a little bit of extra money off, tourists. Always try to go to a place where you see more like locals. Don't go to a stall that is empty. Like, yeah, this empty is gonna give me food fast, but go to a stall where you see a lot of locals. Maybe talk to the locals first. Ask them about the food, ask them about the prices. Then if you're interested in having the food at that stall, have it there. But besides this, nothing too serious would come to mind, to be honest.
Okay, so I think my biggest sort of wow moment of being in Morocco was the Sahara Desert, just the camel ride and just the kind of epic look of all of that. In your work as a guide, what are the other moments that you have with your travelers that are really, that you can tell that it's really wowed them? What are the things that you can think of?
I think that the desert is always a highlight. Is a highlight. Most people like going on a camel, going on to the dunes to see the sunset or the sunrise, living that experience, that not polluted experience by technology and all that. It's just always a highlight. And when it comes to hiking and trekking and all that, Toubkal also is a highlight, especially in snow season. So those two will always be highlights for people visiting, because you feel like, wow, this is just out of this world.
Yeah. Well, and actually just getting back to your earlier point about bargaining, I could use some bargaining tips because I suck at it. I'm really, as an American, I just kind of go in and I feel really weird about the whole thing. And I've gotten better about it. And my attitude is always, I go in and you have to be okay with not buying it, I guess, is the way
exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. You don't have to buy it. Yeah, people think that, oh, this shop owner or this guy, he suggested something for me. He might feel bad if I don't buy from him. I have to buy from him, and so on. You don't really have to feel like that. It's just kind of an emotional trap that you trapped yourself into. So if you're really interested in the thing, then start bargaining. If you see, for example, this and you go like, yeah, nice, yeah, I'll you don't really need it. But if you're like, oh, this is something that I really need, start bargaining for it without showing any interest in the thing. If you go like, oh, these amazing babouche, the guy will say $500, even if they're like 50. So
okay,
never show any.
So then the question is, let's say that something you want, you see, I don't know, something in the market that you want, a lamp or something, and they tell you that the price is, $200, let's just say in US dollars. What would be your starting price?
I would say half. I'd say 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
100.
I would say 100, and I'll see his reaction. If it moves from there to 150, it's basically 100. So it's just like, buy. Yeah. Go like, just stay at your price. If you say 100 and he goes like 120, he's gonna set it for 100. But if he goes like, no, I'm not 190, and it stays close to the price that he said, basically it's just about the price he said, he will not sell it for you. But if you see that the price goes drastically low, definitely go down as well. If you always start with half. But if it's something that is trivial, like souvenirs that are like $2, $3, you don't really have to bargain. If you buy like a keychain or something like that, if the guy says 20 dirhams, just give him 20 dirhams. But I'm saying anything above 100, you have to make some bargaining.
So I guess I'm mean because I've gone in before and it's like, you want $200 for that? I'll give you 50.
There's nothing wrong with that, Sarah.
There is nothing wrong with that. That's good as well. That's good. And how much did you buy the thing for?
My target price is usually if somebody gives me a price, and I mean, look at me, I'm 6'2", I'm blonde, like I'm clearly an American. So I feel like they look at me as a walking ATM. Like that's always the way I feel when I walk into those shops. And so that's why, oh, where'd he go? There is. So that's why when I go in, I know they're going to offer me a stupid price because they think I can afford it, And so that's why I go in there and I just am like, look, man, I got $20 in my pocket. If you want my $20, you're going to sell it to me for $20. Other than that, that's all I've got. Sorry. And
Sounds like you're pretty good at this, Sarah.
That's good. Yeah. But just some shops might be like, No, I'm not saying that. They might be a little bit grumpy, but it's kind of a dance, you know. You have to to do it properly.
Yeah.
Can I chime in on this?
Yeah.
When I first started traveling 40 years ago, I was intimidated by bargaining too, but I have gotten to where I embrace the philosophy that Ayoub expressed when he said it's like their favorite sport, right? It can be fun, and I've gotten to where I really enjoy it. And by injecting humor into it, it actually
exactly, yes.
Is a good way to make it enjoyable for yourself, but also, you know, it's a really non-threatening way to let people know, I know how this works. Let's do the dance, as Ayoub said. So, and I'm usually just shopping for little tchotchkes and stuff like that, and I'll say, well, how much is that? And they'll say, 30 dirhams. And I always laugh and say, oh, wait, no, I don't want all of them, I just want one. and right away, they're in, right. And then as I go along, I'll sort of jump in there with stereotypes. And
yeah, that's a good one as well.
I'm going to steal that one.
I have 7 years giving them a line of BS, but it loosens everything up, and you can have some fun with it.
You know, like Reed said, it's always great to inject humor in. If you're just strict about it and you kind of tell them like, look, I know what you're doing, blah, 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 you're going to scam me this and this and this, they might feel like, I don't even want to tell you this thing now. You ruined it from the start. But if you're fun about it, if you're making jokes about it, actually works as well.
So it's better just to, well, I mean, this is true in every country, but it's better to be sweet and funny and friendly, even if I'm actually kind of a shy person. So for me, that's been a hurdle to get over, is to go into places where I don't know anybody and I want to do this kind of thing. I will say I spend a lot of time in Sicily, and that's really taken the shyness out of me in that way, and the bargaining and all that.
It would.
Which actually is an interesting little side note, is that I spend lots of time in Sicily, and the thing that struck me about Morocco, it reminded me so much of Sicily. And in fact, Arabic, I can kind of vaguely understand it just from being around Sicilian dialect all the time, which maybe is a thing you didn't know.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yeah, Mediterranean countries all kind of end up having a little bit of a connection.
I heard that Maltese is a little bit like Arabic. There is some Arabic in there as well. So I'm not sure, but I've never heard anyone speaking it, but I've heard stories.
Yeah, actually Maltese, that's true. It does. They sound very similar, and I had never really thought about it. But then when I was in Morocco and I was listening to my guide and my driver talking to each other, and it was sort of like, why can I understand them? I can understand what they're saying. And it surprised them too, that I could understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
Surprise for everybody. So we're almost out of time. So before we go, I just wanted to ask Reed, for the Morocco tour this fall, the one I'm doing, there's still spaces available, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And then there's, I think Katerina Mora is also leading a tour in the fall as well, right?
Yeah, we actually have 5 on the books. Whether or not there will, be enough interest, enough intrepid travelers to be ready to go this fall. But we do have 1 in September and 4 in October scheduled to go. So lots of opportunity if people are ready to push the envelope a little bit and travel with some other vaccinated travelers to a country that's doing really well with their COVID response. So yeah, we got room.
Yeah, so if you want to travel with Reed, you can go in September. If you want to go with me, there's room in October. And just my tip for you, plan to bring nothing with you, because you'll easily fill your suitcase with all the fantastic things. I actually ended up purchasing a suitcase that you could literally fit a child into. I mean, it was probably a 3 or 4 foot high suitcase that we brought so many things home. Like, I can't even remember how many things, but I'm not even that big of a shopper, but boy, did I have fun over there.
Yeah, it's a shopping
paradise. You'll need the essentials. Definitely need this.
I didn't buy one actually, because
you'll need this for sure.
I didn't buy either of those things. So, okay, thank you, Ayoub. Now I have my shopping list for October.
Next trip.
I'm going to have to do the teapot and the actual real Moroccan. Okay, yeah. I have a feeling that will be what I buy. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Ayoub. I do hope we get to meet in Morocco. You sound fantastic. So
thank you guys. You're welcome to my place. You know, like I said, it's recorded. You can come with the group and have a meal. So just saying that again.
well, and the problem when you say that to me and Reed is we show up.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm not playing around.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to meeting you then. Well, thanks, Reed, for joining us this morning as well.
My pleasure.
And,
it was fun.
Yeah, can you tell me what we've got going on for the rest of the week for our celebration of Morocco?
Well, we've still got some things in flux, but of course you're doing your Cucina Quarantina tomorrow evening, where you're going to do some experimental cooking in a tagine. And we're talking to one of Ayoub's colleagues, a female guide, a local guide in Marrakech. We hope to have her on maybe Wednesday and Thursday. We're talking about having her do a virtual tour for us. And then Sarah, you and I will do our PowerPoint of the actual tour on Friday evening at 6 o'clock Pacific time. So
yeah, we changed up what we're doing for slideshows because due to technical issues, we had to do an evening slideshow this past week, and we had so much fun doing it together and doing it in the evening. We thought we'll just continue this tradition this week, and it'll be a happy hour slideshow with Sarah and Reed traveling virtual travels in Morocco. So there we go. Well, thanks again, Ayoub. It was very much a pleasure to meet you. And Ramadan Kareem. And I hope to meet you in Morocco.
Hope to meet you guys. Thank you so much, and
thanks,
have
Ayoub.
fun.
Bye-bye.
Have a good time. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.